I'm here today with Carla Jones-Weber, who serves as the Chief Financial and Administrative Officer at the Community Foundation in Greater Des Moines, and we're going to talk about the investment management opportunities at the Community Foundation. And Carla, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also the longest tenured employee at the Community Foundation.
I am.
How many assets were under management at the Community Foundation when you started?
About $100 million.
About $100 million, and currently I think we're just over $540, $550 million, depending on the market that day. So tremendous growth during her time, and part of that is because of the investment management services that the Community Foundation provides to fund holders. And so today we want to take some time to talk about the process in which our three internal portfolios are managed, as well as our outside manager program. And Carla is the person on staff that leads that committee and that work for us. So maybe Carla, can you just tell us about how does the investment committee work? How do we work with our consultant, and what's the staff's role?
Sure. So the investment committee is made up of both board members and community investment professionals that serve just in a volunteer capacity. The investment consultant that we utilize is Mercer Investment Consulting. We've been using them for over 10 years now.
Okay.
But we recently went through the process of an evaluation of our actual consultants and did a review and engaged with 2 new consultants. So we've been using them now about 18 months.
So still the same company, just different advisors.
Correct, right.
With our committee. Okay.
Right. And so the investment committee ultimately has the authority and the decision-making power. The consultant just provides information and recommendations for the investments.
Great. I know when we talk to, especially nonprofit boards, about our investment portfolios, we talk to them about Mercer and all the research they can do about the different investment opportunities and what they bring to our committee for selection. It's really powerful, and it's really why I think a lot of nonprofits partner with the Community Foundation, because they have access to a really high-level investment platform by partnering with the Community Foundation.
Absolutely. And I think, just as you referenced, because of the size of our portfolios, we have access to investment managers and investment portfolio options that individual funds wouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. So the investment committee then really has direct oversight over 3 internal portfolios: the long-term growth, index growth, and defensive growth. Would you just touch on each of those 3, just kind of high level, what the philosophy is for them?
Sure. So the long-term growth portfolio is our portfolio that's been around the longest. It was actually established back in 1997. And the investment committee did the investment decisions at the time without an investment consultant. So it has evolved a lot, but as I said, it's been established for a long time. It is our largest portfolio. It is really structured for growth and structured for endowments that are going to be in existence in perpetuity.
Okay.
The majority of the assets are basically growth-oriented assets, about 70%, and then about 30% are defensive assets to help with when the market has a downturn.
Yeah, okay.
The index growth portfolio is very similar to the long-term growth portfolio, with the exception that it doesn't have alternative assets. The long-term growth portfolio does have some alternative assets.
Okay.
And because it's very actively managed, the fees are higher in the long-term growth portfolio. So the index growth portfolio uses more passive investment vehicles and has a lower fee structure.
Okay.
The defensive portfolio is kind of the flip of that. It's really set up to be much more defensive. About 70% of the assets are defensive, and about 30% are growth-oriented.
Okay. So you can expect lower volatility, but lower volatility, but also maybe lower investment returns.
Correct.
In the defensive.
Correct. And it's a little bit harder too, especially in this lower interest rate time period that we've been going through.
Okay. So do you have just like maybe one tip for when fund holders are choosing between the portfolios? I mean, how do they make the decision? Because we always get asked, but we're not investment professionals. We don't want to give that advice.
Right.
Is there something they can think about to help make that selection?
I think, the thing to think about is that the investment committee spends a lot of time and a lot of consideration in structuring these portfolios. And they have really established that long-term growth portfolio. That was, like I said, the original one established for endowments.
Okay.
And so we have confidence in all of our portfolios, but if you're setting up your fund for an endowment type situation that's going to be around in perpetuity, really either that long-term growth portfolio or the index growth portfolio, depending on how you feel about fees, a lot of times active management versus passive management.
Okay.
That's really the recommendation. I think the defensive portfolio plays a different role, and there are times that funds are established and they're going to be pulled out in a shorter time period. And so that's something to consider that portfolio for.
Okay, good. So that's the overview of those 3 internal portfolios. You can always go to our website where we have our investment policy, as well as we post monthly investment reports that are pretty comprehensive. So you can see the performance for those portfolios and actually how those managers are doing within those portfolios. The last piece is we do offer outside management through the Charitable Investment Partner Program. So fund holders can choose to use their preferred investment manager, but that still has to go through approval process by our investment committee.
It does. And the staff and the investment committee both kind of vet those investment managers and provide oversight throughout the year to ensure that those investment consultants are doing the same type of job that Mercer does for our pooled portfolios. We always evaluate their returns on an annual basis. It's just a different relationship and scenario, and sometimes that works better for different people.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the ending story is that any investment opportunity through the Community Foundation has to all meet the high standards and quality that's expected from our fund holders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is a great video to share not only with your advisory board, but donors, professional advisors, nonprofit agencies that may want to learn more about our investment options. But you're always more than welcome to contact Carlo or myself if you have more in-depth questions on how this may affect you. And then always feel free to visit our website as well. So Carla, thank you for being on the Morning Cup of Joe.
Thank you, Joe.